Hi, this is Linda Brumbill from Remax Jazz, and it's time for questions and answers. You want to figure out your budget. So always talk to a mortgage broker. You don't have to go to your bank. There are other options. If you know a real estate agent, they can even recommend a mortgage broker. Just like you might shop around for a real estate agent, I would shop around for a mortgage broker. The only thing you don't want them doing is pulling your credit, because every time you pull your credit, it's actually a negative. But you could certainly sit down with your bank and maybe some independent mortgage agents and just have a chat with them, and it'll give you an idea without actually committing to them on what you can afford and what your steps are to get into a position that you can start looking. In the meantime, it doesn't hurt to go to open houses and look around, but I would not commit to buying and putting an offer in until I had a pre-approval. Sometimes it takes a while to get your pre-approval because they're going to want bank statements, income tax info, in some cases your employer statements. They're going to need info to get you to the point where you're pre-approved. But starting by talking to an agent, a mortgage agent, just to give you an idea of what you can afford, and they might even give you suggestions onto what to do with your money to make it more plausible that you could afford a mortgage. That's number one. Start there. I would say for most first-time home buyers, number one is it has to be livable. So your budget might be $600,000, but you're better to get a condo for $450 than a house for $600 that needs a new roof. It needs a new furnace. The windows are at the end of their life, and you don't have money to do any of that. You can live with green carpets and an outdated kitchen. It's a little harder to live with no roof. The biggest mistake buyers make is they think they can go alone. I always say, get yourself a good agent. And when I say get yourself a good agent, I don't mean get your mom's cousin's brother's nephew who's just got his real estate license for the last 3 months and is living in his parents' basement and needs your commission check. You do not want to be the one people start out with. At the same time, you don't want to get an agent who's been in the business for 20 years, has 18 clients, and gives you 5 minutes of their time and feels that they're too important for your piddly low-end purchase because they've got the $2 million listing down the road they're preoccupied with. So suss out somebody that you're comfortable with and that knows what they're doing, but will have the time to dedicate to you and actually care about what you want. Oh, I get that all the time. When's the best time to buy? Well, my crystal ball is broken. If I could tell you right now, if an agent says now's the best time to buy, next week's the best time, they don't know any more than everybody else does. The best time to buy was last month because I knew what the market was doing last month or last year or 5 years from now. If I've heard it once, I've heard it 1,000 times, oh, well, when my mom got sick in 2005, we sold her bungalow for $200,000, and now if we still had that, it would be worth $9,000. I don't know what to tell you. You should have kept it in 2005, but did you have a crystal ball in 2005? No. And you don't know. And you know what? You could argue that if you kept it for that many years, you'd have to pay property tax and hydro on it. And unless you were living there or renting it and rentals, there's a certain kind of person that can be a landlord. So hindsight's 2020. I can tell you that if you're waiting for the perfect time to buy, you're never going to buy. Sometimes, unfortunately, your budget might dictate your area. I know in the last video I just did, I said, South Oshawa is not a great, but for some, Some of those areas like Oxford, Glen Street, they might not be the greatest area, but that might be all you can afford. And if it's a starting point and it's your first time home buyer situation where you only have to live there for 4 or 5 years, it might be better than renting, let's put it that way. At the same time, if you have small kids and you want a safer area, I would say try to avoid those areas. But again, sometimes your budget's just restrictive, right? All I can say is, because you're a first-time home buyer and you're planning to eventually sell probably in the next 5 to 10 years, just make sure wherever you choose, selling is not going to be difficult. So if you're going into those areas that aren't the greatest of areas, do not buy the most expensive house on that block. If it's townhouses, don't go buy the one that's upgraded and it has granite countertops, because if it's at the low end for people's budgets, granite countertops isn't a good option. So I would say, actually buy at the lower end if you are in a position that you can renovate it and actually put a little bit of money into it, not granite countertops, but take out the green carpet and maybe put in some nice middle of the road laminate. So you're not losing value, but you're actually putting a little more value into it. So in 5 years when you go to sell, your value is still safe. You don't want to be in a position where it's worth less. You want it worth more.